Hi there. Tonight I'm going to show you la poire belle hélène, which is a classic but pretty simple French dessert. And the version we're making is definitely for the home kitchen. The name is interesting though. La belle hélène refers to beautiful Helen of Troy, but it also refers to an operetta that was created and came to Paris in the mid-1800s. So when it came to Paris, the chef Escoffier created a dessert called la poire belle hélène. Let's get started. The first step is the preparation of the pears. La poire belle hélène is a dessert with poached pears covered in chocolate sauce and served with ice cream. You need 1 pear per person and a large pot. Fill with cold water, enough water to cover the pears. So for 4 or 5 pears you need 6 to 8 cups of water. Add some lemon juice right away because this will prevent your pears from discoloring as you prepare them. Take a melon baller and core the pears from the bottom. And you want your pear to be able to stand up when it's poached. So do this carefully in order to retain the shape. Next, take a vegetable peeler and peel the pears. And as you do each one, put it gently on its side into your water with the lemon juice. For appearance's sake, leave the stem on the pears. Once they're all ready to go, add about 3 cups of sugar and a teaspoon of vanilla. And stir this gently so that you're not cutting into the pears. All right, now we're ready to poach them. Chocolate ganache is a very important part of la poire belle hélène, so I'd like to just talk a little bit more about that. A ganache can be used for a filling or for a glaze or frosting, and really it just depends on the proportion of your ingredients. But there are only 2 ingredients in a ganache, your chocolate and your cream, heavy cream. So the best thing to do is to start with an equal proportion of the 2, and then just start with equal amounts of chocolate and cream, and then experiment a little bit until you get the consistency that you want. If it's too runny, for example, for la poire belle hélène, it would run all off the pear. I also thought I should talk a little bit about the kind of chocolate, because in the video you just saw, I used chocolate chips and they work just fine. However, bear in mind that chocolate chips are made so that they don't melt too easily, so that they retain their shape when you're making chocolate chip cookies, for example. So it takes a bit more work to make them melt. And I had them on hand and I used them, but you might be better if you're starting from the beginning to buy chocolate and then chop it up, and then you could use dark chocolate or milk chocolate or whatever you prefer. There are other ingredients that can be added to your ganache, for example, vanilla or syrup, and the syrup adds a certain sheen to it, but it seemed to me that it was going to be pretty sweet already with the chocolate chips. And it's a lot of fun, though, to experiment with ganache and get really comfortable with baking with it. You can see in these pictures different kinds of ganache and different textures, different consistency. Some of them are shinier than others, some of them are a bit runnier, and others are lighter in color. Okay, back to la poire belle hélène. But just remember, you can't go wrong experimenting with chocolate because, as the sign in my kitchen says, it's not just for breakfast anymore. Now you're ready to plate the dessert. You can dip your pear in the chocolate, you can spoon it over, you can use chocolate on only the bottom half of the pear. It all depends on your personal taste and your personal flair in the kitchen. Add a little chocolate to your plate as well, and then add 1 scoop of vanilla ice cream. I have not used extra garnishes here, but you can do whatever you like. I've seen sprigs of mint, I've seen chopped almonds. You can add garnishes to the classic dessert if you wish, and a chef's version would certainly do that. If you are a teacher who wants to organize an end-of-term celebration for your students, or if you have a public event and you want to include a taste of a French dessert, there's an even simpler version of this dessert that I want to mention here, and I've used this a number of times in my classes. La poire belle hélène can also be made with tinned pears. You can just open a number of tins of pears and put them all in a bowl, and then have the ice cream in another bowl and chocolate sauce in a third. This works particularly well if you're working with young people. They are allowed to just go along and put the 3 main ingredients together on a plate according to their own individual taste. But it's a popular dessert, and it still gives students a taste of la poire belle hélène, even though it's an even more simplified version. The next video gives a quick, simplified version of the recipe, this time in French.